Hello everybody, I'm Andy Phillips and this is Iron Concepts number 54. Today I wanted to talk about an argument that I face sometimes, and in my opinion, it's an ill-conceived argument. I want to look at what this argument is, talk about its flaws, and talk about why you should never go down the road that this argument takes you down. So let's set the scene. You and some comrades are working on a proposal for a big job you're collaborating on, and all of you have different styles. And you all sit down at the same table to talk about the way you should design this piece. And what you're designing a public work of art for the town in which you all have your shops. So you're all sitting there and you start throwing down all these ideas, all the things that you've been working on, you've been designing. And very quickly it becomes apparent that there's a deep rift, there's a divide in between the way that the people there have approached it. You see, on one side, some of the smiths have started pulling vision from their minds, looking for inspiration without direct influence. Whereas, on the other side, the other smiths, instead of having sketches and drawings, they have what looks more like a collage with stacks of pictures of both their own work, but also a lot of other smiths mixed in there as well. And it's here. This is the place where the argument takes root. So get out your pens and paper because here it comes. So you're all sitting there in this tiny little room. It's cramped, it's hot, and you're trying to hammer out a single central design that you can submit as part of the proposal for this project. When one of the smiths comes over, one of the smiths who has a blank sheet of paper, and he goes over to one of the smiths with the stacks of pictures working on his collage, and he says, you'll never come up with an original idea like that. And the smith with the collage looks back at him and he says, there are no original ideas. It's all been done before. And this is where that argument takes root. And it's here where I become triggered. I can't help myself, because it's not that I side with one person or the other. Rather, it's a misunderstanding of the tools that we use to solve these problems. Only through ignorance can an argument like this creep its way in. You see, you think by leaving the blacksmith shop behind, the blacksmith shop you know and love, but it's full of fire and sharp, hot, pointy metal. And you leave that behind to attend this design meeting where everything should be nice and closed up. You even had to shower for hours before you could put on your nice clothes to attend, and you would think this would be safer, but it's not. Oh no, it's not. Because this design meeting is about to get ugly. So before we explore the point that I want to make, I want to look at each side of this argument and kind of deconstruct it a little bit. So it would be argued that the smith who's brought stacks of pictures of other people's works to the tables has set themselves up for an originality, and that they're only going to be able to copy, not create. And you could go a step further and say that it's a crutch to do this type of thing. Or even worse, an immoral plagiarism of other people's original ideas. Meanwhile, on the other side of the coin, for the designer with the blank sheet of paper, it would be said that they're being ignorant of history. There are no original ideas, only culture and fashion. By coming to the table with a blank slate, that person has only their own successes and failures to build upon. And the way to stand tall is not to stand alone, but rather to stand on the shoulders of giants. And this is where I can start to nail down my point. Who wins this argument? The answer is no one, because both sides are wrong about the other person, but absolutely right about themselves. But that's just the feel-good answer. It's great and all that everybody's right in some way, but that doesn't solve the rift. And here's where it gets tricky. Many of the most powerful tools that we have at our disposal for design are fundamentally incompatible with one another. And I want you to think about that for a second. You can't approach a problem with an open mind without at some point narrowing your gaze. And you can't think outside of the box and still have all the comfort and security that the box affords. You've figured out your own way. You've figured out your own design solutions that you've built from the ground up. You've used your own logic and your own learning. You've learned how to learn. And it's only natural from your perspective for every other path to look like it has some kind of flaw in it. And even if it's not flawed, they at least look like they would be difficult to travel down. And design is particularly difficult for the blacksmithing trade, because with our trade, we're stuck between the baggage afforded to us by our predecessors, the fashion of the current market, and our own limitations, both in skills and tooling. Design isn't easy, and once you find that path that works for you, it's understandable and acceptable to stick with that path. It's not easy to find your way along the path to a solution. But what's important is to keep in mind that there are other paths out there. To reap the benefits of a design that is the result of multiple paths converging, you must either iterate that design yourself over and over again with extreme discipline, or you can approach that design with a diverse yet accepting group of people. It's important that you don't discount methods that produce viable results, lest you limit the paths to solution. Most of the problems in design have no perfect answers, only superior solutions relative to their peers. And the more paths you have to those solutions, the more likely that you are to find the exceptional solution. All right, but that's the best solution I have for this one, at least for right now. So I hope you enjoyed the drawing. And if you're watching this on the Big Blue channel, make sure to hop down in the description. We have a link over to the new channel where all the Iron Concepts videos are moving, and make sure to subscribe over there. If you have any thoughts on this one, make sure to leave a comment down below. And if there are any topics you want to delve into in the future, if there's anything you want to focus on, you can email me. My email is also down in the description below. So until next time, thanks and bye.